Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Carrier, and many of you already know me. I am an entrepreneurship and career readiness teacher, and I have a virtual online classroom called Amy Carrier's Classroom, where anyone can join from anywhere around the world to learn the skills necessary to build new businesses, solve problems in the world, and also build the confidence necessary to do that. And I'm very excited to be back with you again today for another in my installment of Rockstar Entrepreneur Interviews. And I am so excited about this interview today. In fact, I'll just tell you, this man has blown my mind. And we spent twice the amount of time you'll have with him today. We spent twice that amount of time on the phone talking about this interview. He's unbelievably creative and brilliant and visionary, and really is finding solutions for the future. So I am extremely excited to welcome Bert-Ola Bergstrand as my guest today. And I would ask all of you who are here right now, first of all, thank you for being here. And please take a moment to share this. If anyone watching this video is interested in entrepreneurship, social impact, networks, and the future of how we solve problems in the world, this is the show you don't want to miss, especially because you're going to have an opportunity to ask Bert-Ola questions at the end. So I'll ask you now, thank you all for your comments, as I already see them coming. Hassan, Cynthia Reynolds is here. Cynthia is saying that she's looking forward to this. I know she's been looking forward to this particular interview for a while. So I am going to introduce my guest, who is sitting here beside me on your screen. And let me do that by giving you a short bio of Bert-Ola Bergstrand. He is an ecosystem entrepreneur, and you know what? Get your pens ready, because I want your questions at the end of this Rockstar interview show today, and you will want to actually take some notes and craft a question that really captures what it is that you'd like to ask Bert-Ola. So make sure you take notes, and when we get to the end for Q&A, just make sure you pop your questions back into the comment section, because I won't be able to scroll all the way down. I'll be looking for ones that are up at the top. So Bert-Ola Bergstrand is an ecosystem entrepreneur and an influencer in the emerging impact economy space, and he's living in the heart of Sweden. And over the last 10 plus years, Bert-Ola has catalyzed and facilitated a dynamic network of international communities. Some of you already might belong to them. He also has catalyzed forums and markets within this impact economy. Bert-Ola is the co-founder of a number of collaborative initiatives and platforms, such as the SoCap Network, Sandkelp Forum Network, Catapult Future Fest, Social Capital Forum, Impact Journey, and Nordic Impact Week. He has also, since the early days of the international crowd sharing movement, been a Nordic connector and supporter to Crowdsourcing Week, Crowdalog, I'm so sorry, I don't speak your language, so I'm sure I'm butchering it, and Sharing Cities. Today he is, among others, working with Trondheim City to set up an impact playground, which I'm really excited about. A tool and methodology for augmenting democracy and societal innovation in the city. He is also engaged in building Catapult in Oslo, Norway, and Social Capital Forum. Bert-Ola, welcome.
It's very long, the longest presentation I heard.
It was a mouthful for me. If you're doing that impressive work and I just stumble over it, just being in my mouth, I can only imagine what it's like in your world. So I am just so delighted to have you here, and I'm so excited to have another conversation with you. And I hope that the questions I'm going to be asking you today really capture the heart of your wisdom and your knowledge and your insight that you're bringing to the world. So thank you so much for being here, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Amy. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So let me start with this first question. Will you please tell me in your own words what the impact economy is? This emerging ecosystem for which you have become such a well-known leader and connector.
I guess the connotation with impact, in addition to economy, it is a sort of a buzzword for many in the impact field that we'll hear about more, but impact is sort of the sustainability or meaning, purpose. I use a few different concepts here that could be part of the impact, but it's something deeper. It's beyond measurement. It has a deeper quality. So for me, impact is something a bit deeper: passion, purpose, valuable values beyond measurement. Maybe not 100% easy to say definition, but it's something that really touches your heart and your passion. You do something more than just earn money or something. You want to do something wider.
Yeah, so it's the passion and purpose behind it. So you use this term social capital a lot.
Yeah.
And you also run the SoCap network here on Facebook. Would you please define for us this term of social capital, what it means to you?
Yeah, what it means to me is many things, but social capital has many definitions out there, but you can say in general, it's the added value to individual people's values. So you say each person, they have their knowledge, their experience from life that they have, they got in school with friendships and everything, but it's like in your person. But in addition to that, if you work in a group, you can create something like wider or beyond the hearts of the individual values, and that's the social capital. So it's something that you can't create individually, but you create it together. So the added value is the social capital value. You can measure social capital at different levels, at group level, regional level, state level. So it is sort of a wide concept, depending a little bit of how you look upon them. But it is the added value on the individuals. The sum is greater than the parts.
Right. Which is why you're building these networks.
Yeah. Today, with the technology we see in the world today, social capital is nothing new in society because it's something working together. Look back at the trading long time back when you came to the market and you exchanged a good for something other and you had a trade. And you met people and you had fun together, or you celebrated and worked hard and everything, but you made it maybe a few times a year. But now these days, when you have technologies, you can find people and talents and new type of valuable services and products out there. So you can exchange much more information. That's why the social capital value is becoming more and more important, and it will, I think, really explode in the coming years because we find the new talents out there. You can amplify the brain capacity, basically.
Right.
So we are in the time of social capital, I think. And not just social capital, there are other capitals as well.
What are those other capitals for our audience?
Well, you can say you have culture capital, for example, the way of how you speak and use routines and language. You have structural capital, which is sort of, it can be the software of a network. It can be manual, something you do in a simple, like this is how we build networks, or this is how you build competence for the organization.
Mm-hmm.
People know how to find the information or the relations, and that is sort of a structure.
Mm-hmm.
And that this not disconnects, but it's an added value on the individual, or this is sometimes we say human capital for the individual people.
Right.
And social capital is the relational part of it. And structural capital is something that you take out and you can make a software or manual or something. That can work 24 hours around. It's
Mm-hmm.
not inherent like, you see what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
I swear,
We should
I'm always,
start to work with it. Mm.
I'm getting advanced degrees when I listen to you. So I think I hope our audience is following along and understanding these different descriptions of the value of the social capital, of the human capital, and also the actual structure behind that.
Mm.
That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. So Bert-Ola, where were you when the seed was planted in your mind? What were you doing? Who were you surrounded by when you started to see that there was this incredible opportunity, and you just started working in this space and solving problems and talking about it?
I think in a way I was, as long as I can remember, always interested in and people and communities and what's going on in a sport club, or playing with your friends or something. So I always like that. So some kind of inherent social capital. I think many people in general, they are quite good in this to build social capital. That doesn't say that you can't be much better. But I think I had it later. It has sort of evolved, but 10, 11 years back, I was involved in regional development in West Sweden. So the idea was how can you build new partnerships in the region, use academic and practical knowledge in the use of business or civil society or government or regional government, and find valuable questions that could be addressed in new ways. So that was sort of how I came into social capital in the last 10, 11 years. But my curiosity, I think, is deeper. I was always, as long as I can remember, interested in cultures and people, looking at maps. Or I remember I was listening to my grandfather a lot. He was a trapper in Alaska and Canada when I grew up. So to listen at Jack London stories, or so when I was a kid there. So I think so curiosity for other cultures and like that has been always a driving. Why? A little bit like that.
So you never stopped asking why?
No, it's never ending, because it's a lot of passion and purpose and great people out there. So that's like the driving force.
Right. Okay. So then let me ask you a why question. And that why question is, why should people care about social capital and about networks online?
I think if you look at the global, one thing is, of course, it's fun because it makes a lot of sense and a lot of great people and energy there. So, but on the more, on a maybe more challenging way is that if you look at the world today with climate change and all negative consequences with refugees and suffering, and it will probably most likely be much worse in the years to come.
Yeah.
It's good to navigate this at long distance before you have the problems at your back door. And we have this possibility to build, not just solve the problem, but also build new opportunities out there, new business, new ways of creating well-being or a great life. So I think it's many why should you do it, but there is a possibility, and it's also very serious there. So
yeah,
today we tend to wait till we have the problems on the back door now. And that is a large cost, both in suffering and for society in general. So if you can solve that at much quicker speed or earlier, we can build more value and less cost for society. That's the big why, I think.
And that's the most important why, because all of these issues impact so much. Impact everyone. You know, humanity is now this very closely connected global family. So
Absolutely.
uh, when you're talking about the why, you're really talking about being available, thinking about what challenges are going to come up in the future, what problems we're going to have to solve in the future. And also, you're focused on building these networks so that they're already up and running, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm,
So that's my next question. And that is, what are you doing to build networks for social impact? And then I've got a second part to that question, and that is, what different values are coming out of the networks that you're building?
There is a lot of people engaged in what we have been doing, so it's hard to see individuals here. But over the last 11, 12 years, we have built, like I would say, like a collaborative network of ideas and tools and methodologies. So it can be maybe a bit hard to grasp what is it exactly. But right now we are building something called the Impact Playground. An Impact Playground is a way of connecting a digital space. It's sort of encouraging people to connect in different tools, connect with people in different cultures at different distances. To some people I met over the years, they feel a bit, strangely enough for me, but they feel a bit scared or to take contact even online. It should be quite easy to like or connect with a person, but like build a bit of more encouragement for people to find out who is your neighbor in San Francisco or in Mongolia or in Lapland here in North Sweden, or start to build this new connection and learn to use the new tools that you will need in the future to navigate information and relations. So Impact Playground is sort of a tool for learning and competence building in this space. And also it's in time and space. So when we, for example, have an event on Thursday in Trondheim, so Trondheim City, they have an event about how they can come up with new ideas and develop the city. Many people are working there, and we connect places around the world who will be part in that conference to connect, so we can share some ideas, get inspiration, and you can find out in Rio what are you doing in Rio or in Nairobi or in a village in India, and sort of build energy and new interaction between people online. And with the technology today, you can really do it. So, but you need a good story, you need a good trigger in the network to build this. So the playground is like all around the year, different places, different spaces, and connect up and encourage people to try, to connect and use tools. Log in and log out, I said many times. That's very important competence to feel, why doesn't it work now with Be Live? I have no sound or I can't hear. Log out and try again. Use another tool.
I love that. That's the metaphor that so many of us are used to using automatically, and it's actually a way of thinking that we can apply to doing our work. And what I love about Impact Playground is that you can go online and learn from people all around the world. You can connect with people all around the world, and you can bring in that knowledge and expertise and actually do the work locally in your own community. Is that what you're seeing, the value of Impact Playground?
There's a lot of values created there. One of the biggest values, we have done a lot of surveys with the online communities. What does this mean for you? And it can be very different from belonging, I think, is one of the biggest values. Many people, they tend maybe sit alone in a co-working space or in a village, and they are like disconnected from others, and suddenly they see other people around the world doing the same. So they can belong to something bigger that maybe the locals don't understand, or also. So belonging is like a deeper value. Can also be very pragmatic, and like person is stranded on the airport in some country and no one can, I don't know where to go, I don't have the money or something. Do you know someone there? Maybe they can help us. That can be another type of value, very practical for the hour. It's also a lot of like general values there. For example, if you're well connected, you get normally the information quickly. So you can act on the information, and information is knowledge and innovation and next term. So that's sort of very important. And diversity in networks give also the new ideas. So you get better quality potentially if you use it. So with designing of networks, you can get diversity. You can get speed and information quickly in the networks. You can get these intrinsic values of belonging and so forth. So it's a lot of values coming out of it.
Yeah, I'm going to go off script for a minute and say that there's so much talk about how disconnected the new generation is. And I just read another article about it last night, talking about how being so connected and being on social media for young people is making them completely disconnected in their physical lives. They don't know how to relate to one another. And what I appreciate hearing in what you're describing with the Impact Playground is that you're actually working to use these tools of these online networks and virtual communities to have in-person connection and have impact within your own community. And I feel like this is the solution that needs to be presented every time that argument comes up in an article. We're ruining our kids. They have too much screen time. They don't know how to communicate with one another. That all may be true, but what you're talking about is how do we use these tools, these platforms for good, ultimately?
I think it's an added thing. Of course, there's many negative things as well around this, because I would totally agree that this is a very powerful tool, and you get, of course, sucked into these platforms as well. So it's easier to disconnect maybe in the local life. So there's a lot of challenges there, but if you connect this maybe to school or something, if you find a way to design it in time, I think it should be seen as an added value to your traditional way of building dialogues and relations. And you can do it very systematically and for good purpose. You don't need to be a bad person online and say bad things to each other. You can do it like to encourage is and to share is the basic with it for many people out there.
So this is actually a great segue into my next question, which is how would you guide someone watching this to go about filtering out valuable information and relationships from the overwhelming amount of information that exists in our digital worlds?
If you know a little bit how to structure information, of course, it's I think most people here following this feel where you are looking for a post, you didn't know where was it a friend or in a group or something, and you are scrolling and trying to find, and suddenly you have been around for half an hour and you're in a bad mood. So it makes sense to navigate information in a good way. There's a lot of tools in most social media platforms. So in Facebook, for example, you can use the favorite function. That is one of my favorites. You can have 30 favorite functions. And that means if you favorite a person or a page, that will pop up early when you open your phone or computer. So that's a way to ease, if you want to follow a person or something, to make sure that pops up early in the flow. That's one way. You can put on friends, for example, close friends. You will get the notification on people. You have another which is very important, very valuable to to click save a post, like a bookmark, up to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find it down to the left if you look in the computer or
Mm-hmm.
phone, where you have the save post. So if you're on the run, you can click quickly save the post, and later on you can go and find out was that interesting, and then you disconnect. So that's a way. Also, I would encourage to start to make lists. So like you can do it with close friends, maybe people that you have met at a conference, or maybe power relation friends. We speak about 3 types of social capital: bonding, bridging, and linking social capital. And without going too deep into it, bonding social capital is community capital and close relations and families and so forth. And bridging is more maybe same interest, but you're not that well connected, or friends in another world, part of the world or something. And linking is more power relations, so people in investment or decision makers, or sort of that. So that's a way of also starting to see different qualities in network, because networking is a complex system. So there's a lot of different qualities and structures.
It is a complex system, and hopefully those of you watching, you already know how to use some of these tools that Bert-Ola has outlined, so that you can search, you can save links, you can make lists of friends, and in those 3 different categories: bonding, bridging, linking. Because I think people are getting so overwhelmed with the amount of information, and now we're building our friends lists, we're building our communities. In fact, I wanted to ask you a couple minutes ago about SoCap Network, so I'm going to have you talk about that for just a minute. But SoCap Network, which is one of the many networks you've created, has over 30,000 members. And, so when you start doing this on a grand scale, on a mass scale, you have to start organizing. Otherwise, everything is just overwhelming, right?
I think one important aspect there is to let go. You can't, I like one person out there, Thomas Power. He spoke about the old mindset: closed, selective, and controlling, and the new open, random, and supportive. And if you really, what was that post, or can it really be true, or something, you get too stuck in the information.
Yes.
But if you take it a bit more easy, maybe that's true or fake or whatever, but you let the crowd filter it.
Yes.
And the function of social media is that, for example, Facebook, the post will pop up again. And it has been like Wikipedia, where a lot of people have examined the post. It comes up and it's turned upside down in all aspects. Is it true or is it not? That's a way of dealing with the big flows of information. Don't take it too serious in a way. Misunderstand or understand me correctly. So it's to get a bit easy attitude to it, in a way. That helps to navigate big flows of information.
Yeah, it's almost just trust that what needs to come to you will come to you, and don't get so mentally overwhelmed by it. Just let
and I can see that behavior of people not maybe used to a big flow of information, that they say when they enter a group that, where do I start? There is no starting flows of information. Right. So that is just to show, or where you can find that they are stuck in that you can control a river of information.
Yeah.
So it's no problem if you have, it will come back if it's good information, or if it's bad information.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really, and I'm seeing that Cynthia Reynolds just wrote that in a comment. This idea of transitioning to random and selective. Let things come to you.
And then random and supportive. Otherwise, it's like you look at traditional organizations, they don't want to let information out. They are very selective of who they pick or control, and they keep the keys or something. So that's very controlling mindset and mechanism. This
Right.
is more open and let things come and go. So how do you sign for randomness, for example? That's this attitude of being a bit easygoing, but also encouraging, very important in the end if you want to build community or networks that good and be supported like a big value out there.
Yeah.
Try
So
to design for open, random, and supported. That's three concepts we try to use.
open, random, and yeah. So most of my audience for this, and I would imagine a large percentage of your audience, are entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurial, and they're problem solvers. So with that in mind, and knowing that you are an ecosystem entrepreneur, which, I mean, that's everything. Everything is encompassed in this understanding an ecosystem and then finding a solution, finding solutions, finding the assets and building those into networks and new solutions. My question is, do you have 3 actionable steps for our audience who are watching this right now, so that steps that they can implement themselves to become impact entrepreneurs? And I like that you've used that term in addition to, or maybe in place of, just social impact entrepreneurs, because I think, like you said, when you and I were talking one-on-one, impact entrepreneurship allows for things to be bigger than just social impact entrepreneurship. So if you have 3 steps that we can share with the audience, and if you want to say anything about this difference between impact entrepreneurship and social impact entrepreneurship, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, there are many questions there, but
I'll repeat them.
Probably first step is to start to be a bit aware of what you're doing. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you do already a business or you're thinking about starting, and maybe you can look a little bit more like what is the wider value for society or for the community or something. Start to find that element. So you can look at your business or your model and what is a greater value than just for me or for another? What is the other thing? That's one thing to start to look back at your organization or as a person if you're alone. But also you have most places around the world today, regions or a city, have some kind of social entrepreneurial network or sustainability or something to join that, to join a meetup, what is going on there would also be very good, of course. A third thing is if you can't join it, you can maybe do it online with joining the networks we are engaged in. You have there's a lot of you can just Google social entrepreneurship or green business or something and just tap in and start from there, and things will follow. It's connect directly with the people who are and what are you doing, have a chat like we do now. There are so many ways to start going, and then you will increase the value. Just also a note there on the difference between, if there is a difference between traditional entrepreneurship or business and social entrepreneurship, social enterprise. For me, it's a bit of, you can maybe easier see it in when you start social enterprise or an enterprise on why are you doing this. For example, if you have a person in need or begging on the street or something, maybe you want to attack that problem specifically. It's not a business transaction you see. You see, I don't want that problem to be. And that might be harder also to build in economic generation in the business idea. But maybe on the other hand, if it's traditional business, maybe you go to vacation and you go to a restaurant or whatever, and you see, oh wow, they have that was an interesting model, and they sell wine in this way. If I do it the same in my home city when I come back, then I can start to sell that in my city. They will like it. So you see already in the beginning in the idea that there is some income generation. But if you look at the problem on the street, you don't see the money there. You want to solve the problem. That is a bit of the difference initially when you have these two sort of enterprise models. Later on, you will find a business model on income generation and create value, but initially it might be quite different.
Yeah, because you have to offer the value. You have to offer something first, right? Then you can figure out how to monetize it.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I'm so glad you just said yes, because that's so often a question or an issue that comes up when people are trying to build something online, especially if what they're building is mostly a network to start with. You have to build it. You have to show that you're bringing value, what you're saying, and then you figure out how to monetize it, right? And outstanding job answering my 5 questions all at once. I want to go back to those 3 steps, and I feel like I can remember 2 of them. I'm going to have you tell me the 3rd one again. So the first one is, well, the second one was to build community in your personal environment, meet people out in your city, in your town. The 3rd one that you gave us was to build community online. So there's both. And again, I think that's a really important message that you delivered early on. And that is, you have to be willing to go out and have these larger networks and use them to do your research and make connections. But then come back to your local community, and actually you suggested meetup groups, find, communities of like-minded people that you can connect with in your area. And then what was the very first thing you gave us?
I think also you can start to examine what you do today.
Okay.
So like look at your idea that you maybe is working on or want to work on, and how could that be more meaningful? How could that be something for the greater community, not just sell something, but is there more deeper purpose around this?
Perfect.
And find what to think about it.
Yeah. So you're talking about starting
like
personal.
I said initially a little bit that for me impact has a deeper quality. It is closer connected to your passion, and it's a impact for me is a qualitative aspect. It's not just like you say risk return and the rest is impact. This is a qualitative dimension in economy.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. It's personal to start with. It is then local, and then it is global. And I think that message, they seem like linear ideas, but they actually all work together, and you have to be moving them all forward. Wonderful. Oh my gosh. I love talking to you, Bert-Ola. So to our audience, get ready with your questions. I've found one from Cynthia Reynolds already. I'm going to put up on screen first in a few minutes. I'm going to ask Bert-Ola what his call to action is for the audience watching this today and in the future. And I would like you to, I'm sure that in your call to action, you're going to talk about the networks that you've built. And I would like you to talk just a little bit about the SOCAP network so that others can hear about this and join, because I think it's brilliant.
There is like call to action. You can always do something in your life. It can be at a very local level. It's just to start doing something. Maybe I love build ecosystem. That's why I call my ecosystem entrepreneurs, because I can have biggest effect. When I started, I connected individuals one-on-one, but now I see if I find triggers and networks, I can create so much more action.
Right.
And it can be a bit hard to understand, but if you find the right structures and like that, you can have a bigger impact. But that would be the call to action anyway, to start find something meaningful. Maybe it's in the community, maybe it is in another place where you can support. You can of course join us and other networks online as well. And it's just to go to my Facebook page and scroll down there in different. You see it. I'm facilitator of a lot of groups and pages.
Yes, you are.
You can just so we are sort of a meta network. We connect networks. Individuals have started groups around the world, and I would say most regions around the world. And so it's join in, feel what's going on, feel the network, feel the people, ask questions, and you will find a place there, a niche that you are find this is relevant for me. This is my call to action.
Yeah.
And when you find it, then you start to do something. And what can we do? There are so many things out there in the world. You have the UN 17 goals. Maybe you can connect to that. Maybe you can support a crowdfunding campaign. There are many crowdfunding initiatives around the world where you can go and support a local entrepreneur or and bring a small piece that could be very helpful for other people. And you do it on the road to the bus or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. It's brilliant. And in fact, you just started answering the first question that I'm going to put up on screen. So I just want to say really quickly to everyone, so list your questions again up at the top. Just put them in again. I don't mind, because I would like Bert-Ola to answer a few of your questions before we hop off. As you've already seen, his mind is brilliant, and the way he's thinking about all of this is so valuable to everyone. And I'm so grateful for your time, Bert-Ola. And I know that everyone who has questions is as well. So the first person, I'm going to put her question up on screen. Are you ready for answering some questions? Some more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So this is Cynthia Reynolds, and her question is, how do we enable people to understand that what they are doing at the local level is worth sharing with others?
Yeah, that was one of the. There is no easy way, I think. One of the challenges with networks and relations is that it takes time. It's not like building a house and you see one brick and the next one. This is a process. Unfortunately, I don't have any good, easy answer there. And it is to show when some effect is positive, to tell that, to give feedback, to support, and to get them to understand it didn't just happen by coincidence. It's by building these new relations, and it has a valuable impact. Maybe if something positive, give the credit to another person, encourage them, and say thank you for bringing this value. It didn't just pour from the sky. It is something that you consciously need to work on and say support that action. But it's not easy. It takes a lot of effort and to see also the qualities and values of building this.
So we certainly learn a lot, but I like what you just said, that we actually, I think you have to have the mindset that you're there to collect information and to help grow whatever it is you want to grow, but we're also in these networks to be of value to other people. So when we share something, like Bert-Ola just said, how this worked, we're helping other people gather more data. I think that's a really a really
Should,
valuable point.
and also maybe encourage people to give some feedback, or maybe it is a bit superficial to say, can you like the post? But to go from just view something to like is in fact a step. There's a lot of what to say, shadow social capital out there. They're following, but you never see them. So just come step forward and do something. Maybe give a. It can be critical a bit. I wouldn't say it's different to be critical than negative, but give some valuable feedback. It's also good. So encourage people to do something and write something or whatever it is. Hopefully in a productive way then, of course.
You want to, so the people who are actually behind the scenes building the community, they want to encourage more of this interaction, right? I think, I mean, I can just from my own experience working on building Amy Carrier's classroom, I've learned that there's cultivation that's involved in building these communities.
Very often it's also to look what is missing. Very often you focus on if you know networks, they tend to be a bit similar after some time. So it will be some pieces of diversity that will go away for the picture. So always, this is an advice for me, for you and others, to look at networks. Look at what's missing in the picture, not what existing there, but what more do you want in the picture. And if you don't see that information, you should go, we need more young people, we need more diversity in one or another way. Maybe I encourage you, Amy, can you share in the post in the group so people see that we have more women from US, for example. Right. Yeah. So to increase the diversity in a setting.
Yeah.
So look, and we speak also of edges in networks, but we know that interesting stuff is happening on the edges in networks, and that's where the new innovative ideas come up, and say weak signals in
yes.
something that related.
Yeah. Okay, so we have another question from another woman you met. And I will put her up on screen. Layla, I'm so glad you got to be here today. Her question is, what is your main goal, Bert-Ola? What is the main problem you are working to solve by connecting people the way you do?
I was thinking a lot of that. I don't think I have any main goal. That was a long time back. Many years back, I was even in sports. So at that time you had goals, but now it's more like on a journey. It's something inherent. So I just do things that's meaningful. So maybe that's the goal, to find but I don't see, you can have small goals on the way, but it's more to follow your passion. Maybe it's another thing in 5 years. I don't know, but that's I try to follow what feels right.
And that's a brilliant way to live, period. We've got another good question here, and that is from Elzan DeWee. Can Bert-Ola give more explanation on what it is to be an ecosystem entrepreneur?
Yeah, for me, it is to build an ecosystem that's a wider it's a network or different parts. It's maybe not as individual business. You sell coffee or you sell water filter or something. It's to cultivate a learning network or something. So you build a whole infrastructure, the relations and the connections and the tools and the methodology. Everything is to be an ecosystem entrepreneur. If you want to build that, then I see you are an ecosystem or institutional entrepreneur. There might be other ways of coining this as well, but it is to build a wider idea. If you call it entrepreneurship, I don't know, but it's to build something bigger, more complex.
Okay.
And hopefully that these type of pieces come together in a supportive way so you can have bigger impact.
We've got a follow-up comment here from Layla. And she says, so you're just doing what you like to do and what's meaningful for you. That's great. I think that's a good way to live.
Yes, but over time I also realized, I said initially that I think I had almost like a deeper purpose or passion for culture and the people and like that. And suddenly you could do it online. So it opened up a completely new opportunity. You don't need to travel all the time. You can do it with better quality. You can, in fact, do it from your own place. And so it's but also now with, as I said before, why should you do this? Now you can also solve big problems. So that is, of course, a big additional thing around this, why it's important.
Right.
But maybe that is, I think, to many people that maybe that is not why they start, because you really need to have the drive there to do this time and time again and day after day. And you can't just do it for money or something. You need to have a deeper passion for it.
Yes.
But it's great that you can be part of building a better world, whatever that means. But the cleaner, less climate problems, all this, that's positive.
Absolutely. And I'm hearing what you're saying, that you have to have the passion to fuel this. And I think that for just about every entrepreneur, you have to have that passion behind you in some form to get you moving and to get you, continuing to do what you need to do to build such a big vision. So we've got another comment. So as a comment and a question. Rajesh says, social impact entrepreneurship, is it about creating some impact and phase over, or is continuity of entrepreneurship crucial till it has scaled up to become a social impact entrepreneur? Trying to look for the bigger question than this. Yeah, I'm not sure, Rajesh. Maybe you can rephrase your question and shorten it so that we can have an idea of what you're asking.
I'm a little bit unsure what.
Okay.
What
yeah. If there's anything there you want to just touch upon, Bert-Ola, feel free.
As I said before, it will always be in all entrepreneurship, you create social values, whatever you do. So as I said, for me, the big difference is maybe you focus on the problems in your mission initially more as a social entrepreneur, or like in traditional a bit more money, but it's hard to say exactly what is that. And all entrepreneurship is inherently social. I think there is a social dimension of economy everywhere in all sectors, but we have learned to structure different organizations like governmental organizations, NGOs, academic, business in different ways and put them like in Sweden we speak about the third sector or social economy or civil society. That's a third sector, or business another sector. But if you really look at this social all over, it's a horizontal dimension as I see it. It's the social dimension. When you go home after working in your business or in the NGO, you go into the family or to another social dimension. The social is there. That's my point.
Right.
And it's the same there in social. what's the difference with the social impact entrepreneur and impact entrepreneur? Maybe it's the same. I think it's double your social and your impact. It's like two dimensions. For me, it's a bit strange.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love your strange ways of thinking of things and putting them together. So, Bert-Ola, we have just a couple minutes left. Would you like to say a final word before we say farewell to our audience? And thank you. It's been incredible because our audience has been consistently very high the entire time we've been here. So people are loving what you have to say.
Yeah, next time you can join directly on Thursday next time. We do, that's the good thing here. You can join whenever, almost. Mm-hmm. On Thursday, we will do something called Impact Playground in Trondheim municipality in Norway. And you just follow me online, or you can go into Impact Journey Facebook page, Creating the Future. And there you will find an event page, Impact Playground Future. So go into Impact Journey, Creating the Future Facebook page, be updated, join in. If you can't do an activity, which we normally do in an Impact Playground, you can sit at home, you can be with friends, have a conversation in your place, tap into what we do in Trondheim on the 23rd on Thursday, and start a dialogue. It's a good opportunity. We use the hashtag Nordic Gold. Nordic
Gold.
So Nordic Gold. Nordic Gold. So using the hashtag Nordic Gold on Twitter or on Facebook, you can communicate the message to what we are doing here and to other fans and to the world. Hopefully something encouraging, supporting.
Wonderful. I've already liked that page. I join every group I ever find that you have because I learned so much from you, and I've met such incredible people through the networks that you've built. And two of them, Layla and Cynthia Reynolds, are two brilliant women I've connected to who know you. That's how I've met them. And Cynthia has your Facebook group. Here we go. We're going to put it up on screen. Facebook.com/ let's see, let me get rid of that. Impact Journey News. I don't know why that's not all coming up on screen.
Otherwise, we can share it later there. So
so it's Impact Journey News, right?
Impact Journey Creating the Future is the Facebook page if you search.
Okay.
Maybe this is a quick link or something, but Impact Journey Creating the Future is the Facebook page. There is a lot of groups and things like that as well, but you can start there. There are events connected to that Facebook page.
Okay.
You can also go there and scroll down, but start with there and you will find out.
Okay, perfect. Impact Journey Creating the Future. So that's a good call to action, and that's a great note for us to finish this this conversation today. And I've already asked you, Bert-Ola, if we could have another conversation. I want to bring you in to talk with our students about networking in general and how you actually leverage the more personal level. This is something that
things, the aspects, and how you build trust, micro trust in networks and the mechanisms for doing this. A lot to be said of how you build the small bridges, like how do you build collage. As you see, I don't take that many selfies. Sometimes I feel that I need to take it, but normally I do Wi-Fi's, like many people together. Like there are many ways there to build social capital in digital spaces. To build these micro bridges to get people to start to connect.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who tuned in and joined us today. And Bert-Ola, I will certainly be in touch. We can hang out here. We'll stop the live feed and we'll say farewell in the background. Thank you everyone so much. And to Bert-Ola, on behalf of me and my team and my 4,700 students from around the world, thank you so much for being here today to teach about social impact and the impact ecosystem for the students in my classroom. It's so valuable, and this video will play after it's live, and I will be saving it and sharing it in several places because you've offered a lot of value to a lot of people who are really interested in figuring out how they can be entrepreneurs and how they can solve problems around the world. So I appreciate you so much, Bert-Ola. I really do. Ever since I was first introduced to you by Rehan for that crazy conversation we first had, I have just admired everything you do. And it's been a pleasure, as always, to talk with you and learn from you. And I look forward to more.
So thank you. That's great to see you there. And, I said we started there in June, in fact, when we had the impact journey where I'm now in the heart of Sweden. So you can also search where that is. A small question to the audience there.
That's right. Bert-Ola told me you can search the hashtag Heart of Sweden and see what comes up. Lots of Bert-Ola stuff.
Heart of US, maybe it's where you are. Maybe
it's wherever your heart is, right?
Maybe that is the right answer.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. Bert-Ola, I will see you in just a second, and we're going to say farewell for now. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.